Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to a Red Dragon in Allies expansion. This is for Melvyn versus Marah. This is the Kickstarter edition listed down here. I will show off, there's only a couple Kickstarter promo cards that came here. Otherwise, the rest of the stuff should just be available in a regular Allies set. So hopefully I got it all right. I kind of jumped on their website and it's what they showed, so hopefully they weren't lying to me. So yeah, we're going to get two brand new characters. We're going to have Melvyn, the Collegium Archivist, who's a Minotaur Mage. He was originally part of the Slugfest crew promotion. You go to Slugfest games. You can sign up for doing demos and stuff like this, earn points, get some characters like usually a year or two in advance. Which is pretty cool, and some other prizes. Then the other one is Marah, the Mel Dictator, the Elf Mage. So we get two brand new mages, but she's also a boss. So it's a hero-villain pack, which is kind of neat. So we're hitting into the Collegium there, which has been referenced a ton of different times in the Red Dragon in games. The third thing we are also getting is we are getting a brand new tavern. For our pub crawl, we have the Swazzled Sorcerer. So we'll look at that and those drinks a little bit later. We got a couple of prizes as well that came in here. So we'll look at all of that stuff after we go through the characters. But yeah, so that's another reason. So if you like the pub crawl, you can definitely pick this up. There's a new thing there. You like some new characters, new bosses. So that's always awesome. So to start off, we're of course going to get our set of little coins as well as our counters there. Double-sided, you know, if you need more of those. If you already own a ton of the games, you probably have more than enough. And then we're going to hop into our two different characters. We're going to start with, we also get deck dividers for each character, as well as one for the Sorcerer, Swizzard Sorcerer, which is really nice. Tells you what the cards are on the back. Setup rules for their different abilities as well, which is always a fun thing to have. So we're going to start with Melvyn, the Collegium Archivist. So he has a special ruin deck. Yes, I'm making sure it said he, because sometimes it's hard to tell with animals, you know. Yeah, so he'll have a special ruin deck, which we'll go through. I'm actually going to go through that first really quick, just so you can cut with kind of videos. But, so special setup is reveal a ruin, discard, draw, action, order, drink. So they have a ruin deck on one side. You'll put your ruins over here, Melvyn's ruins, and then you'll discard them on the other side. And at the top, you keep track of your ruins. So we'll go ahead and set that to the side. They're just going to have different colors like this. There was also an option during the Kickstarter campaign to get metal token versions of these, which they do for a lot of the tokens they offer is metal. This is the first time they've done it for cards. They literally let you switch them over to little metal tokens. I did not pick them up because I don't have metal tokens for all the characters. So I didn't want to get some for some and some not for this. We're going to get 3 copies of this red one, which are fire. So they have in the little cheat sheet here, lists what they are. Yellows, we have 3 copies, which are shields. And then the little symbol down here, which is more what's going to probably be showing on the picture. On the cards, we have 3 copies of the blue one, which are ice, and we have 3 copies of the black one, which are chaos. So, as you will do during the game, actually just throw the back of his card up here. It says, shuffle your ruin deck and place it next to your playmat. At the beginning of your turn, or whenever a card starts to reveal ruin, and place it in the ruins area near your playmat. Many of Melvyn's cards have better effects when they are powered up with 1 or more ruins. To use a ruin, power up a card, discard the appropriate ruin as you play a card. If a power-up cost involves multiple ruins, you must discard all the ruins listed for that ability. The card has multiple power-up abilities. You may use many of them as you want. However, each listed power-up may only be used at most once and must be paid for separately. Also, you must pay for all of the costs while you're playing the card. So it's an additional effect to playing the card. So you can't, so if the thing says like does 1 damage, or if you pay a ruin, it could do 3 damage, you can't wait to see how your opponent's going to react. Know that they'll take the damage and don't have any way of stopping it. Opt to then pay to do more. So yeah, you have to pay for it right away. If you discard any ruins, power-ups and that card gets negated or ignored, you do not get the ruins back. So again, if you're fitting with danger, you have to spend resources. Once they're spent, they're spent. Awesome. So let's hop into the rest of Melvin's deck. So we're going to go through quickly the ones that are in every single deck. Are the gambling and in cards. So action gambling. At the start of a round, each player, including you, must ante or take control of a round of gambling. So we will get 4 copies of those. 1 copy of I Raise. Take control of a round of gambling. Each player, including you, must ante again. We have 2 copies of Winning Hand. Take control of a round of gambling. The next card to take control is a cheating card. We can tip the wench. Pick a player. They pay 1 gold to the end. We have 2 copies of Wench. Bring my drinks. Bring some drinks for my friends. You may play this card during an order a drink phase of your turn. Pay 1 gold getting ordered 2 additional drinks. Your drink orders may be placed on any other player's drink me piles. The wench thinks you should stop playing with the drinks. Negate is sometimes card that changes the effects of a drink. This includes negate, ignore, or split past drink to other players or alter any other drink effects. This can only be affected by I don't think so, which is the last card we get. So this is the one that's in every deck has an I don't think so. But the other ones are all the exact same artwork. This one has artwork specific to the character for the deck. It says negate is sometimes card. This card can only be affected by another I don't think so. Awesome. Now we're going to jump into the special stuff. So we have a copy of Don't Touch the Scrolls. Pick another player, they lose 2 fortitude. When this card resolves, turn it to your hand instead of putting it in your discard pile. So that's kind of neat. So yeah, you get to play this, and they get good. If you pay the ruin, you get the bonus effect. Now we do have a second copy of it. Has the same exact effects. It just has a different colored ruin on it. So that's kind of neat. So you're going to get the same cards maybe multiple times, just with different ruins. So you can pay for it in different ways. We have There Must Have Been a Chaos Ruin in there. Each other player loses 2 fortitude. Use 1 fortitude to reveal a ruin. I found this in the uncataloged zone. I think it's beer. I love that because that's one of the drinks from the new deck. Pick another player that loses 1 fortitude. Pay a black. They also gain 1 alcohol content. Pay a yellow and any color. Draw a card from your character deck. If it's an action phase, you may play another action card this phase. Cool. Happy Little Ruins. Pick up to 2 other players, each pay you 1 gold. Pay a red. Put this card in front of you. Next time you lose fortitude, discard this card. Reduce that fortitude loss by 1. And we have 2 copies of this one. It says, look, I made a map of the Arcane Archive. I always love when they feature the other characters in there too. Pick another player. They gain 2 alcohol content. Reveal a ruin. Leave me alone. These charts are weird. Ignore an action sometimes or anytime card that affects your fortitude, alcohol content, or gold. You may not use this card during all round of gambling and reveal a ruin. We have The Pen is Mightier Than the Axe with a blue and multicolored, or a black and multicolored. You may play this card when an action sometimes or anytime card would make you lose fortitude. Reduce that loss by 1. Ignore that card instead. So you can afford 2 ruins and just ignore it. Cool. That's awesome. It's kind of neat because it depends on, you're going to have to slowly reveal these ruins and you can hang on to them. If you ever don't have enough, you have to wait till you can pay for them. If you really want to run with the bulls, you may play this card immediately after you lose fortitude from a card played by another player. You may not play this card if you reduce that fortitude loss. That player loses 1 fortitude. Pay the 2 they lose it instead. It's also nice because you can keep any amount of ruins at a time. Some characters have things where you can only have like 3 cards out at a time, so you have to constantly be actively swapping and switching stuff around. No, you can basically, if you end up drawing your entire deck, you could have it just sitting out there ready to go. I don't know why you wouldn't be using it, but it is a possibility. We have 2 copies of Not Now. I'm explaining this Arcane MacGuffin. You may play this card when you must ante. Instead of ante, you leave the round of gambling or ignore a drink. We have 2 copies of this one with different colored ruins. Har har, bull in a bar. Never heard that one before. Reduce the alcohol content of a drink you're about to drink by 1. Or ignore that drink instead. Let's see if the Rune of Power works on that. I love it playing with the drink. Add 2 alcohol content to a drink, reveal a rune. Well, this is a silvering development. Pay any color, discard the top card of the drink me pile, or pay all 4. Look at your drink me pile, put one of your cards face down into any other player's drink me pile. That's pretty nice. Calligraphic Flourish. When you play a card that can be part of playing ruins, you may play this card as though it were a ruin of any color. This can't be negated. Don't interrupt my game of Tiddlywinks. You may play this card when you must ante. Instead of anteing, you leave the round of gambling. The player who played the card that would have caused you to ante pays you 1 gold. Of course, these cards aren't marked. We got some cheating cards in here. Take control of a round of gambling. For 2 ruins, draw 2 cards from your character deck. This is a new variant of Foils. My new variant is from Foils Codex of Cards. Take control of a round of gambling. Pay 2. Each player, including you, must ante again. Let's use my transdimensional superpositional dice. Take control of a round of gambling. Reveal a rune. Let's play an old classic. Start a round of gambling. Pay 2 runes. Draw 1 card from your character deck. You first ante the round comes from the ing rather than your own stash. A lot of variations here. I'm feeling bullish this round. Start a round of gambling. Each player, including you, must ante. You may not use this card to take control of a round of gambling, which is already underway. Lose 2 alcohol content. We have 2 copies of Let's See What I Have in My Scroll Cache. You may play this card when you are about to lose gold. Use gold from the ing rather than your own stash. So many ruins, so little time. Draw 3 cards from your character deck, then discard 2 from your hand. Or discard no cards instead. You pay any ruin. And then his last card is some books are more fun than others. Pick any other player, then choose. Look at their hand, or they drink the top drink from the drink deck. Pay a red, do both instead. Yes, it's pretty interesting character. Like we have some extra cheating elements in there. We don't have, it doesn't have a lot of characters that seem to have that. And I do like the fact the ruins are, they do make the cards a lot more powerful, a lot better, maybe equal to some other characters' cards, which is kind of the gimmick of it. But it's also the fact is that you can keep them sitting out until you need them. So like, you can wait until you have two or three of each different one before you start playing some. So you're not immediately having to spend them just for the sake of spending them. So that's pretty cool. Alright, then we're going to head into our other character, which is Marah, the Mel Dictator. She is our boss. Yeah, just before I jump into there, just a little quick thing about it. So, Melvyn, most bizarre Grey Porch mages call it Collegium, the Arcane Archive, vast extraplanar storage, all sorts of powerful and dangerous items. The Rune Master Melvyn has navigated the archive for decades and is chief archivist, giving him plenty of experience in strange artifacts and oddities. And then we want to read Marah's, just so we have an idea of who these guys are. The longtime professor, Marah terrorized the most powerful graduates to come over to the Collegium with her harrowing assignments and barbed wit. After leaving the Arcane Archive, she broke her ties with the Collegium and now torments her former students with baleful magic and enfeebling curses. So she was a former teacher, which I thought was just kind of a neat little extra thing to do. So she is going to have her regular deck, which will have these cards in the back, and then she will have her maledictations in the back. And then she'll, of course, have her boss deck. So how do maledictations work? Oh, you may be wondering. So you see on her card here, she doesn't have anything extra special listing those things. So shuffle the maledictation deck in place where everyone can reach it. Many of Marah's cards cause other players to draw maledictations. These are detrimental cards that take the space in players' hands and are difficult to get rid of. Malediction counts the player's hand size, thereby reducing the number of cards a player may draw during their discard and draw phase. Maledictions can't be discarded except by effects and specifically allow the player to discard them. The usual way of removing malediction from your hand is to play it. Cards have a type and may be played like any other card with that type. Unfortunately, most of them harm player playing them. Maledictions may be ignored, negated, or otherwise affected like any other card of their specific type. So, yeah, they're going to give a person another card to play, but they're usually pretty bad. Alright, let's hop into hers. So we're going to kind of fly through some of these because they're the same thing. She has 3 copies of Gambling I'm In. She has 2 copies of I Raise, which is neat. I love the villains. Have the villain hands in there versus the other characters' hands. 2 copies of Winning Hand. Tip the Wench, which is the villain's wench instead. The wench thinks you just got playing with the drinks. 2 copies of Wench, bring some drinks for these fiends instead of my friends. And then she has her I Don't Think So card. So it's the same for every character. Then she does have 3 other gambling cards, which don't usually ever have. She has Gambling, you're the one taking the risks. Start a round of gambling. After players anti-pick another player in the round, they draw 1 malediction. Or take control of a round of gambling, the player that's previously in control draws 1 malediction. Cool. Alright, now let's hop into her deck. She has pick a card, everyone's a loser. Take control of a round of gambling. Pick another player in the round. Gambling, they choose 1. Either they leave their round of gambling or they draw 2 malediction cards. So it just depends on how bad they want to win. Open your purses now, lift your curses. 1 guy's on fire and 1 person's covered in slugs. Take control around your gambling. Each player in the round may ante 1. Each player that does so may discard 1 malediction. So there's a way to get rid of them. Just kind of cool. I drop my scrolls. I mean cards. Take control on your gambling. Pick another player. They draw 1 malediction. Curse you. Pick another player, they draw 1 malediction. She has 2 copies of This Is Beneath Me. You may play this card when you must ante. Instead of anteing, you leave the round of gambling or ignore an event. 2 copies of You've Made a Powerful Enemy Today, Friend. Ignore the action, sometimes or anytime card that affects your fortitude, alcohol content, or gold. You may not use this to ignore around your gambling. The player who played that card draws 2 maledictions. 2 copies of Instructional Smite. Oh, a little ruler there. You may play this card immediately after you lose fortitude from a card played by another player. You may not play this if you reduce that fortitude loss. That player loses 2 fortitude and draws 1 malediction. She has 2 copies of Ritual of Disdrunkination. Ignore a drink. Fine, maybe this will stop your whining. Give a drink you're about to drink to another player. It gains the effect discard all maledictions from your hand. 2 copies of Live, Laugh, Loathe. Add 1 alcohol content to a drink the player's about to drink. They may discard 1 malediction. If they do, add 1 additional alcohol content to that drink. Any bribes? I accept bribes. Each other player pays you 1 gold. Each player that loses gold in this way discards 1 malediction. Each player that doesn't lose gold this way draws 1 malediction, even if they ignored this card. 2 copies of Oh, poor thing. Are you cursed? Do you hate it? Pick another player that is 2 fortitude. If they have a malediction, look at their hand. 2 copies of Curse You All. Each other player loses 1 fortitude. Each other player The plays sometimes in response to or immediately after this card draws a malediction even if they ignore this card. 2 copies of Fool-Seeking Missiles. Pick up the 2 other players, each lose 1 fortitude and draw a malediction. 2 copies of Whoops, Out of Blood, Give Me Your Hand. Pick another player, they lose 2 fortitude and draw 1 malediction. And finally, Incantation of Reclamation. Each other player discards 1 malediction if able. You lose X plus 1 alcohol content, where X is the number of maledications discarded this way. So that's cool. So her deck is always just going to be basically trying to get people to draw these maledications. Otherwise, she's not doing a whole lot of other stuff. A little bit of alcohol content. There, a lot of little fortitude loss here and there, but that's just going to be about kind of like making other people be their own demise. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and look at these guys. We have the Malediction of Recklessness, which is a sometimes. You may play this card during a round of gambling you haven't left. Anti-1 gold. Malediction of Torment. You may play this card immediately after you use Fortitude, lose 1 additional Fortitude. The Malediction of Enfeeblement. Reduce the numerical effects of 1 non-malediction action that you just played. So if it says gain 1, draw 1, whatever, lose 1 of those numbers. Malediction of Rage. Add 1 to the Fortitude loss of an action sometimes or anytime card you just played. Lose 1 Fortitude. Malediction of Vengeance. Just play this card immediately after you played a card to cause another player to lose Fortitude. Lose 1 Fortitude. The Malediction of Stupor. You may play this before your turn. During your turn before your discard and draw. Skip your discard and draw phase. The Malediction of Thirst. You may play this card during your drink phase. Drink an additional drink from the Drink Me pile. Malediction of Inebriation. Just gain 1 alcohol content. A Malediction of Pain. Lose 1 Fortitude. A Malediction of Obligation. Pay 1 gold to Marah. If Marah is no longer in the game, pay it to the inn instead. So that's actually a neat thing, is if she ever gets eliminated, these cards still stay in your hand. So, sucks to get them. The Malediction of Sacrifice. An additional cost to play this card. Discard any number of maledictions from your hand. Lose 1 Fortitude for each malediction discarded this way. The Malediction of Loss. Pay 1 gold to the inn. The Malediction of Absolution. As an additional cost to play this card, discard up to 3 cards from your hand. You may discard maledictions this way. If you discard fewer than maledictions than other cards, Marah loses 1 Fortitude. The Malediction of Excess. Put 2 cards from your Drink Me deck face down your Drink Me pile. And our last one is the Malediction of Boldness. Start a round of gambling, you must ante 2 gold instead of 1, or ante 1 gold and take control of a round of gambling. You may play this card even if it was the last card to take control was winning hand. Cool. So these are really neat because they have like some interesting effects. They're not like overpowering, but they're definitely gonna mess you up. Again, they take spots in your hand, but it seems like there's plenty of cards in different ways to discard them and affect them. And usually if you play them, you're losing like 1 thing or paying 1 gold, so it's not like end of the world. Like nothing's hitting you super hard. But it's also really cool is that they're all different. Like they could have made like 5 of them. They just had them like 3 of each, right? But it's really neat that they didn't. Alright, so now we're going to look at her boss deck. So it's going to have the same back, but of course now it has the dragons on the top. So we have another I Don't Think So card. So this is if you're playing the boss mode, which is 2v1. I don't know if they mentioned the rules in here. Yes, since I'm playing the boss deck, just add this in there. So it just has the rules for Red Dragon in set 6 had the bosses in it. Plus other sets do. Yeah, when you play with them, the player playing the boss needs to add these extra cards to their deck. They're a little bit harder. Like having a second I Don't Think So is always nice. But I also love that it shows like the crazy like epic form of them, like they kind of like powered up. 2 for the price of none. Pick a player with no maledications. They draw 2 maledications. Misfortune favors the bold. So now she has all these papers surrounding her a lot more. You may play this card when a player would make you lose fortitude. Pick a player. This could be the player hitting you. That player draws 2 maledications and the damage is redirected to that player. Misfortune favors the bold. You may play this card when a player would make you lose fortitude. Pick a player. We just saw that one. Is it the same one? Yes, it was. We have the first rule of any villainy. I always love these ones. They can always suffer more. Each other player discards a sometimes card from their hand unless they reveal a hand with no sometimes cards. Each other player loses 1 fortitude. This card can't be negated or ignored. 2 copies of You're All Going Down Together. Each other player loses 1 fortitude and draws 1 malediction. 2 copies of Howling Malvortex. Ignore a drink or ignore an event. In either case, pick another player, they draw a malediction. 2 copies of 2 Hands Are Better Than One. Take control wrong of gambling. Draw 2 cards from your character deck. If you played in a round that has malediction, if a player in the round has a malediction, draw 4 cards instead. And then we have 2 copies of Ultimate Misfortune. Pick another player, they draw 1 malediction. Draw a card from your character deck. If you play this card during your action phase, you may play another action card this phase. Then the last 2 we've already seen. They're just extra copies of Incantation of Reclamation. And fine, maybe this will stop your whining. So it's the same as the other 2. Just, extra copies. But then we do get some maledictions. They'll have the border on there, a little dragon at the top. Just as when you look, they're specific for the boss deck. So Lingering Malediction, draw 1 malediction. Delirious Malediction. Marah draws 3 cards from her character deck. If she's on a game, nothing happens. Everlasting Malediction. It just sits in your hand. You apparently can't get rid of this unless you play something else that lets you discard it. Interesting. Unquenchable Malediction. Drink on your drink me pile. And finally, we have Vainglorious Malediction. Start a round of gambling before players anti-reveal your hand. More powerful. The other thing I like is the first ones are all, the regular deck are all called Malediction of this. And then these 5 are something malediction. So it's kind of nice, extra way to tell them apart. Yeah, that's really fun. Extra boss deck, she gets a regular card, but she gets an extra couple of cards to her secondary deck as well. Alright, then the next thing we have in here is we have a new pub to go through. So these were introduced in set 8, I believe. Yes, set 8. Has a pub crawl variant. So just a brief idea of what this does is what it lets you do is leave the Red Dragon Inn, which is where you're actually doing all your stuff. Instead, you get to go to one of these other different pubs, and they have a little 5-card deck, drink deck, 6-card drink deck, that you get to go to, and you get to go through them. Once those 6 drinks are done, then you move to the next pub, and then you move to the next pub, till you finish all the pubs and you end back up with your Red Dragon Inn. So it gives a couple little bit difference. You can get some various effects that aren't in the normal ones, which are really cool. They'll all have their own backs. So I think that set came with 5, and then there has been 4 other ones. There's one that was in the deck building game Battle for Greyport Ironforge or Copperforge. There's one in this one. There was one coming up in the new game, Adventurers Nigh, which is like a spin-off of this same game. Same Red Dragon rules, just it's a different property, but it's compatible with this 100%. And then there was one other one in a different set, which I forgot what set it was from. But I think there's like 9 total different ones you can play, which is really cool. So the Swazzled Sorcerer says Tavern Event. Reveal a card from the Tavern Drink deck, disregarding chasers. Each player drinks a copy of the revealed drink. This event causes a Tavern Drink deck to run out. Player who crawled here crawls again. Cool. On the back, it just has a picture of the four of the well, five with Pookie, I guess, of the original members. Because that way you can shuffle them up so you don't know which one you're going towards. All right, then let's look at our our 6 new drinks. We have the Mobius, like the Mobius strip. Put this card in the bottom of your drink me pile. If part of a chaser, only this card goes to the bottom. Keep coming back for more. And we saw Melvyn drinking that earlier. The Wizard's Breath Ale. I do wish this is like one of those ones that would have been like, we had like the Orc and I think Orc and Troll ones that had like special little flavor text. I wish I had one that would have been for like mages, because there's like 5 or 6 mages at this point. That would have been kind of cool. The Portal Egg. So he's drinking right from the barrel using portals. And then the Portal Egg with a chaser. The Chancellor's Brandy. Discard any number of cards from your hand, then refill the character deck up to your hand size. It reserves so good it has tenure. Nice. And then the last one is the Swazzler. When you reveal this drink, flip a coin. Heads 2 or tails -2. It swazzles you really good. Alright, that's fun. We do get that deck divider for that as well. Which on the back will just have a list of the 6 different cards, which is always nice in case you for some reason can't figure it out. Maybe you put the same card backs on there. Then we are going to get 2 prizes. We have Foil's Codex of Cards, which we saw in one of Melvin's cards as well. When you win this prize, remove it from the game and start a round of gambling. You are control of the round of gambling, and play proceeds to your left. And then we have the Disjunctionator. Next time you discard and draw instead of this, add this card to the prize bin. Then discard all cards from your hand to draw 8 cards from your character deck. Cool. So these are prizes are something they add periodically. In case you're not familiar with what those are, basically what you do is they sweeten the pot during the round of gambling. Adding any unique prizes to the end at the start of the game. Whenever a player starts a round of gambling, that player must choose 1 prize, add it to the pot. The player takes the anti-gold, wins the prize, and follows its instruction at the appropriate time. This will cause prize to move to the prize bank, a holding bin for prizes. If a player starts a round of gambling and no prizes in the in, move all prizes from the bin to the in, and then choose the prizes as normal. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So what this more or less what you do is it gives you an extra card that'll have an additional little effect at a certain time. But what's also neat about it is because once someone uses it, it goes to this bin, and if eventually that bin runs out, you get them back. So if you're only playing with like you're playing a 4-player game and you bought this, you only have 2 prizes, it's fine. Because someone will eventually use it. They'll eventually go back to the prize bin once both have been played. Then they'll go back to their pile when someone needs to look for it. So eventually players will get a chance to do them again. If you have like 10 of these, you might not ever get a chance to run through all of them, but you'll have a lot more variety anyhow. Cool. So that is what was available in the regular game, at least according to their website. So that's pretty cool. 2 new characters, new drink deck, couple of promo cards, prize cards. We do have some actual promos though, so we're going to look at those now. So this stuff again is Kickstarter exclusive, so look for the box that says Kickstarter edition if you want these extra 4 cards. If you're not that concerned about it, then you'll just probably pick it up at retail and get the rest of the stuff. So first we have a new drink event. We have Thirsty Dragons, which we also saw in one of Melvin's thing, which is of course a Hungry Hippo reference. Each player reveals a card from their character deck until they reveal a sometimes card. Then draw their revealed cards. The player who drew the most cards this way each reveal and drink a drink from the drink deck. If a player reveals a drink before revealing a drink, they discard it and reveal again. So interesting. So if you have a lot of sometimes cards, you'll draw it quicker. You won't have to probably take a drink. But you also don't get a lot of your cards. Someone that has few sometimes cards, or less than the other players, might have to take a drink, but they might end up getting a bunch of cards in their hand, which could be super helpful as well. Then the other thing we have is some more prizes. We have the Arcane MacGuffin, again, saw on one of Melvyn's cards. When you add this card to the pot, you may add additional prize to the pot. When you win this prize, draw 2 cards from the character deck, then add this card to the prize bin. Neat. So you get that other prize and 2 cards. Certificate of Tenure. Let me try to see if you can read anything on there. Not really. Next time an event would affect you, add this card to the prize bank to ignore that event. And then finally we have Zot's Lucky Dice. Yeah, just a bunch of cool dice there. Those cards in the pot. Players may discard an action card from their hand to take control around their gambling, as though they played a cheating card. When you this prize, draw 2 cards from your character deck. Then add this card to the prize bin. Neat. Since in the pot, it actually does something interesting during the gambling round. And then, yeah, when you get it, you just get 2 cards and you put it back in the bin. That's kind of cool. Alright, so that's what we have for Melvyn versus Marah. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you haven't checked out all the other Red Dragon Inc. stuff, definitely go back and hit some of those up. Comments, hit me up. Let me know what you guys think. Anything you'd like to see me talk about, any other games you'd like to see me look at. Again, when Adventurers Now does come out, that's the next game, which is based off a webcomic. Wait, pledges might be still available by the time I post this. You can definitely go check that out if you're interested. See you guys later. Bye.